Greetings and salutations, everybody. Rad Dreams here with Rad Dreams Review, and today we will be going over my top 16 Digimon trading card game profile. Recently I went to the North Carolina BT15 IRL regional tournament, in which there were, I believe, 252 people. After seven grueling rounds of competitive play, I ended with the record of 5-1-1. So, yes, it wasn't undefeated, but still one of my best performances for sure in a IRL regional tournament. So today we will be doing not only the deck profile for that tournament. Yes, it'll be a little old because it's BT15 and BT16 just came out, so better late than never, right? And then after that, or possibly before, we'll be doing the live match showcase that PPG or Pro Play Games did for myself and my opponent in round, I believe it was 5. So look forward to that live match where you get to see gameplay that was caught on their Twitch channel. So with that being said, let's segue right into it. Okay, we are back with the gameplay footage from the Pro Play Games tournament in round 5. At the start of it, we have a bit of technical difficulties where they have the wrong names. On the left, we have Jarrett, and on the right, it's supposed to be me, Mason. So they have them flip-flopped, and not only that, but they haven't changed the Digimon yet. They have him playing D-Brigade. So there's that. And then in addition to that, there is a low resolution to their stream for some reason. Like there's a low I believe it's like a poly count for the stream that they have for whatever reason. But we'll be playing this at 1.5 speed. It's a bit of a longer match. It's like between 30-40 minutes long. So I'll be speeding it up a little bit as well as providing commentary. So let's get right into it. We have our opponent, Jared Sinclair, shuffling up. I believe he mulliganed. And then there's just me just cutting. I think I was happy with my hand, so I kept. As we see our beautiful Mirai sleeves there, I go ahead and hatch into Viximon, Digivolve into Sala, and just kind of contemplate my options, play the Digimon Emperor. And at this point, I'm like, what the hell is he playing? He does a Sunomon, then an Ignite Mon. I'm like, okay, what are we doing here? The Wisdom Training, still kind of confused at this point. I have an inkling that perhaps he's doing a Purple Toolbox at this point. And let's see what I decide to do. We just go ahead and drop the Magna to get rid of his Gazemon. We don't like that memory stuff. So let's go ahead and pause. With Digimon Emperor, when an opponent's level 5 or lower is removed or deleted or what have you, you can suspend the Tamer and then draw a card. It is a May effect, which is nice. There are moments in which I do not resolve this effect because I'm afraid of drawing too many cards. So that's a kind of rationale why I don't suspend it at certain points. However, there is a point later on where I do make a blunder and leave him suspended. But his other effect is kind of where he shines, where if your opponent raises up from the breeding area with a level 3, they lose 2 memory, which is absolutely devastating. So let's go ahead and restart. So at this point, I think he grabbed the Lilithmon off the Wisdom Training, so I was going to say, okay, maybe Lilith Loop, perhaps? But then he does Mervamon, I think. Or no, that's later. That's later. He does the Mervamon. So now we're just kind of waiting on him to contemplate his plays, do a Dober X. So the judges, or not the judges, but the commentators do mention in this stream that I'm one of the more quicker security control players, which is accurate. I try to play as quickly as possible. It's mainly me waiting on my opponent, unfortunately. Now, he's taking his time, definitely, with his turn here. So now it's my turn. Now I'm realizing, okay, Lady Devimon's a bit of a threat. So swing first, because I'm pretty confident I'll survive. Then got to get rid of the body with a Lonky. Activate the Viximon effect to draw. Trying to utilize all of my resources, make the most optimal play here. Hatches again to a Sunamon, going into a Goblymon. And again, we are still kind of waiting on him to make a decision. He's probably not super used to playing into security control. And it looks like he is going to Digi-Cross into the Mervamon alternate art, one of the better alternate arts, for sure. Big fan of that artwork. And on their side, there seems to be a bit of a glare, so it's very difficult for you watching to see what he's played. Unfortunate. So, he's got a bit of a wide board. Right now, I've got 3 bodies. I've got 1 in Raising, 2 out with the Salamon and Angemon. Now I'm just kind of contemplating. So this is kind of where I think I do make a bit of a mistake, because I'm contemplating playing X program. And whether it be the nerves or what have you, I fail to kind of recognize, oh shit, it'll delete every Digimon with the exception of his Dobermon X antibody, because it does have X antibody in the names. I just kind of have a temporary lapse in judgment and kind of forget for a moment that X program does delete my Digimon as well, and then I have a clarification from the judge here just to make sure that my Digimon do in fact get deleted, which should be resolving here soon. So that was a bit of a misstep on my part, kind of forgetting, oh yeah, shit, I gotta delete my Digimon too. So he brings out Gobbly, giving him a lot of memory here, which I'm not too super concerned with, actually, because my security is looking pretty good, but he takes this opportunity to establish yet another wide board. And I believe in just a moment we will see a mistake on his part, but we'll see. So he swings, dives into Magna to Dober. He swings with another body into Gallantmon. It does die. Does his Wisdom, grabbing the all-important Anubismon, which is a one-of, amazing card. And then it switches back to me. So I play my purple Kari out, trying to get a purple source, getting ready for a Flame Hellscythe potentially. And at this moment, he's kind of contemplating his options again. It looks like he's got a Ruin mode. Alright, so so the mistake there, we're both playing very quickly, and I failed to realize it too. He swung into Chaos Degradation, and he deleted his Bakamon, which he should not have done. And no, I didn't catch it. The judge didn't catch it. So a bit of spaghetti going on here. But I do, in fact, target his Mervamon with the Chaos Degradation, activate my Kari, gaining that memory, putting him to 0. All in all, his Bakamon dying may have not mattered, but who knows. And in just a moment, we will see a mistake on my part. So when you rewatch something like this, it's easier to recognize a mistake. When you're in the heat of the moment on stream, nerves are a little high, right? And I'm trying to play quickly because I'm concerned about time. Because you only have 45 minutes plus 5 minutes in overtime or 3 turns, right? So I do raise up with Salamon, and in this instance, what I should have done is either kept Salamon in raising or just keep her out on the field and not swing. But we'll see where the mistake is in just a moment on my part. And again, this was not done maliciously at all. So I go ahead and swing, draw for the Upa. She does die. I do recover. However, in this instance, we will see, I do not have a yellow source to play that Flame Hell Scythe. So unfortunately, I did quite the misplay here, because I cannot resolve that option card. And I failed to realize it in the moment. So did Jarrett, so did the table judge, and then I believe the commentators did as well. And it's very unfortunate. So I do end up recovering off of that, which does matter. So that was quite the blunder. So I do apologize, Jarrett, for that. But at this point, the game state is irreparable, and we cannot backtrack any longer. So now I hatch into Upa. And that should be the last misplay that we see, other than me not unsuspending the Digimon Emperor when I was supposed to. But I didn't really so much care. So I go ahead and play the Pillowmon here, because the Pillowmon prevents him from playing Digimon by effects, which is huge. And then I go ahead and put Revelation of Light to the top of security. When revealed, it does the minus 5,000 DP to his board. So we have 2 bodies with Pillowmon as well as Magna Angemon. He goes into Leviamon. Pretty much just purple good stuff. And then I believe he's going to be able to clear my board as well. Yes. And I think he only runs at 1 Leviamon. He does have an extra security attack right now. So let's see what he's got cooking in the works. I believe he's counting his trash at the moment. He's got quite the discard pile. I think he wants to activate Jack Raid here. Perhaps. I'm glad I have it on 1.5 speed. So he's got 2 checks. First check is Revelation of Light, obviously, minus 5k to the board. Then we do Flame Health Scythe, an additional 6, so he should be at 2,000 DP. I get to return Magna Angemon to the field, activating Recover 1. And then he just hard plays his Raid Saberdramon, not Birdramon, Saberdramon, which has Raid and Retaliation. Very good card. At this point, I'm kind of debating on what I want to do. Kind of contemplating my options. I think I asked him to count his option cards because I want to play a Avenge Kidmon for a cost of 2. Because we have a total of 10 option cards in our trash, in which I get to choose what order they go in at the bottom of the deck. And once that effect resolves, I can delete an opponent's Digimon with 8,000 DP or less, which I will end up choosing Saberdramon. Trying to maximize my advantage at this point. And then I go ahead and get rid of his Levia with Chaos Degradation, putting him at 8. Just trying to clear the board. That's the whole option of my style of security control, is I like to not only maintain board presence on my end, but also manage my opponent's board, making sure that there are not too many threats, right? And trying to squeeze in attacks every now and again. And I do notice at this point his deck is running quite low in terms of cards. So I can play fairly conservatively. And at this point, on my turn, I have a Venusmon in hand, which I do believe I will go into. So let's go ahead and see what I have in store. We will swing with Avenged Kidmon, getting that 11k beater. Yep, there it goes, the Venusmon. So on Digivolve, she does a blanket effect of negative security attack 1. And swing with her. Safe play. And then, what she also does is if a Digimon has that security modifier, it cannot target Venusmon with an attack, which is super useful. Not only that, but when attacking and when Digivolving effects do not resolve if they have that modifier, which she gives as a blanket, which does come up with Anubismon. He can only activate his main phase effect and no when Digivolving and no when attacking. So he's Digivolving into a spicy tech card with Myotismon Ace, which I do love that inclusion in Purple Toolbox. Very, very good Ace card to kind of catch your opponent off guard. In this instance, however, I do believe he will attack into Avenged Kidmon. But we will see what he has in store. He is establishing his board presence, though. Not only with the main effect of Anubis, but with Mervamon. He will delete my Magna Angemon Ace, overflowing by 3. And at this point, I do see he is going wide, and I think what my next course of action here is to play Death Xmon on my turn, which should be for a reduced cost of 5, possibly. We'll see what he has going. But I know he's trying to establish a wide board here. So he goes ahead, he hard plays a Doberman. 5 bodies on board. And at this point, I do believe he hard plays a Devimon to try to choke me at 1. And you do notice here, I leave my Digimon Emperor unsuspended. So he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 targets to reduce Death Xmon. So 6 times 3 is 18. 20 minus 18 is 2. So it will be for a reduced cost of 2. Which will, I believe, just leave Myotismon. Yep. Very, very good play on my end, honestly. And I choked him at 1. Or 1 memory, excuse me. And he concedes immediately after that. So then we go ahead and move into our next one. So let's go ahead and fast forward a little bit. Let's do 2 times speed. And speed it up as we do our shuffling. So yeah, a couple different misplays that first game on his end and my end with the sources, the Bakumon, and the leaving Digimon Emperor suspended. But I think at that point it didn't really matter. So we got roughly 24 minutes left. So let's go ahead and do the speed back to 1.5. We get our yellow source as well as our purple source immediately. Very, very good turn 1 for me. Getting that Kari out. I can suspend when a security is removed to gain a memory. Pardon me. We're just kind of discussing the memory, making sure everything's on the up and up. killing his Goblin with the Magna Ace to recover, getting that problem child out of here. He's going into Miramon, and I think on my turn I will in fact remove that with a option. But let's see what I do. I'm pretty sure that's what I end up going for. But he does in fact go into Anubismon, and he gets to utilize all of his effects when digivolving, as well as main. And I just set my cards down and wait. Because I know this is going to take a little bit. So he's just explaining what is going on. We overflow. It's still his turn at 0. So he simply just does the wisdom. So I will go ahead and drop return. I'm at 2 memory. I'm contemplating on laying down another Kari or just flat out removing. I go ahead and do the removal with Lonky out of Stocko, minus 12,000 DP, reducing it to 0. He then responds in kind with a level 3 Labramon. I just am verifying what it does. He goes into a Lady Devimon. Very, very strong when digivolving effect. It's basically Pot of Greed in Yu-Gi-Oh! More or less, with the exception you do have to discard. And he goes into Anubis again because he did recur it. Which is a bit of a bummer on my end because I just removed that card. And then I believe he's crossing with a Merva on top of a Merva. So he gets to activate some additional effects here. But I'm sitting pretty at 6 security right now, so I'm not too concerned. However, he does in fact play Psychmon, which does prevent me from reducing play costs, which is very hurtful for Death Exmon. I do not have it in hand, however. I think at this point, I decide to drop a second Kari. But we'll see what ends up happening. I'm trying to recall off the top. So I think that's what I end up doing here. Yep, dropping another Kari. So I have 2, so that way, and a third Kari, I have 3 now. So that way when he swings, once a card's removed, he loses 3 memory. Even though I didn't do a lot, that does net me quite a lot of advantage. And the first check is Chaos Degradation. I go ahead and target the Anubismon. He swings again. Yet another option card with a Lunky out of Stocko. 2 option cards in a row. It's security control for a reason. He goes in again. A third option card. It is Flame Hellsite targeting Neg 6. I don't have any targets to return, however. That was very lucky on my end. 3 option cards in a row. But I did not have anything to recur with Flame Hell Scythe. But I'd take advantage of this situation and go ahead and do a reinforcing memory boost, grabbing the Salamon and putting Revelation of Light at the top. So if he swings, it's a minus 5,000 DP to his board. He decides to go into Blue Maramon. He's going through his cards very, very quickly here. 17 minutes to go in the round. He's contemplating. He decides to swing. It is the Revelation of Light, minus 5,000. And I do, in fact, suspend the Kari, switching it to my turn, putting me to 1 memory. I will Digivolve into Salamon. Then I believe we will activate the reinforcing memory boost. Let's find out. Yes, we go ahead and activate the reinforcing memory boost, putting me to 4. Then I go ahead and hard slam the Azulongmon Ace, which has the strong on-play ability of returning a level 5 Digimon on my opponent's side of the field to their hand. And then on deletion, I get to delete one of their bodies. Very commanding position. He has very little cards left in his deck. I have 3 security. However, I have 3 Karis on the field and the Azulongmon. I believe he will go ahead and swing with Raid and go into the Azulongmon Ace to delete it with Retaliation, which is basically Death Touch in Magic the Gathering. So let's see what he decides to do. If I can remember this correctly, will he go for that play? Yes. Will he? No, he does Jack Raid. I go ahead and set my cards down, waiting for him to resolve his turn. He does go for that play. Overflow 4 on his end, gaining that massive boost of memory. He plays the Gazemon a little bit too late because I already utilized the reinforcing memory boost, and then he goes ahead and does his purple memory boost, searching for cards, and he goes ahead and grabs the Death X Mon. Not that it matters against security control. At this point, I'm contemplating, do I swing with Salamon to recover 1? I think I go ahead and I do end up doing that to draw a card off of the Upamon effect. However, she has pseudo-jamming and does not die. I do, in fact, play Digimon Emperor to pass the turn at 1. So that way, if he raises, he will lose memory. He goes into Ogremon in the back, activating yet another purple memory boost, going into Bakamon for 2. He's digivolving, running out of cards. He's discarding because of the effect. He's going into Myotismon, digivolving yet again to draw. 12 minutes to go in this round 2. Or not round 2, but game 2. He plays his Psychmon, putting me to 2 memory. I'll digivolve again in the back to Sala. I'm at 3 security. Let's see what I do. I believe I go ahead and swing at security. Draw. I do end up dying to the Goblimon to recover 1. And I do, in fact, have a yellow source, a purple source, and a white source now. So let's see what I go ahead and do. I believe we will be doing a Flame Health Scythe here. I did a bit of a misplay there, however, because I have a Lonky Adestaco in hand. So what I should have done, instead of swinging with Salamon, I should have left her on the field with 3 security left, then activate Lonky Adestaco to -12 on the Myotismon, and then use the secondary effect to place Psychmon at the top of the security, fully utilizing its 3 security card effect. So that was a bit of a misplay on my part. I could have had a more optimal turn here. He goes into Ogremon, though, and he's running out of cards. And I believe he draws his last card, and I am at 4 security. There's no way for him to utilize 5 attacks at this point, and he does go ahead and he does concede. So let's go ahead and pause there with our commentators, Wyatt and Tyler from Gaia Force Gaming. If you have not had a chance to check out Gaia Force Gaming, highly recommend doing so. They run very good tournaments, and Tyler's a pretty swell guy. I have not met Wyatt before, though, so I cannot comment on that. All right, so that was my Charlotte Regional feature match, brought to you by Pro Play Games. Feel free to check them out on their Twitch, as well as their website, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. I'm sure they have all that stuff right there for you. Let me go ahead and adjust that. There we go. Okay. So before we conclude the video, we will go into my overall matchups and then go into the deck profile itself. So let me go ahead and bust out the phone here. We have our matches. In round 1, we have Magnamon, which we won 2-0. Not too much to tell there. It was a pretty straightforward match. I was able to really just manage his board as well as my own security, just whittling him down. Not really anything notable. Second match, we have Beelzemon that we ended up winning 2-0. What happened with him is he wasn't utilizing Beelzemon X Antibody to its fullest extent with trashing my security. He was either doing it too late or too early. He wasn't really finding a good opportune time to activate that card, so I think that ended up possibly hurting his chances at beating me. That was round 2. Round 3, we ended up facing Numemon, in which we won 2-0. My opponent, I believe his name was Christian, was a very, very cool dude, and he was running a awesome Numemon build that focused on floodgates. So Chikurimon and Shumon not being able to gain memory as well as not being able to play things for a reduced play cost did help overall in his matches. However, against security control, he wasn't able to utilize them too well, and I was able to really manage his board and kind of, win that battle of attrition, right? Even though Numemon is hyper aggressive, I was able to kind of system that, right? Then in round 4, we faced against Shine Greymon, which was a very difficult match that we ended up winning 2-1. That was a very, very close match. He was extremely aggressive in game 2. He had like 3 Shine burst modes out on the field at one point. I was like, whoa. I was shook. I was shooketh from him. Very good player. Round 5, which we just saw, Purple Toolbox, we won 2-0. Then, in round 6, we faced off against the second place finisher of the tournament, I believe. He played Leviamon. We ended up tying, however. Very, very close match. I think if it did not go to time, there was a chance possibly I could have eked it out, but alas, went to time, and we ended with the record of 1-1. Then in the final round, we ended up getting absolutely steamrolled by Mirage Gaugamon, which I was kind of surprised that I did so poorly because in testing, I was doing fairly decently against it. However, he was able to get his responses to that. So those were my matchups. Finally, to finish off the video here, we will go into the deck profile itself. Alright, we are here at the Pro Play Games event management website where we have the top 16 performing decks for the Charlotte Regional for the Digimon trading card game that we will just in a moment take a look at my profile, which we got 14th place total out of top 16. This is the breakdown. We have 3 Mirage Gaugamon, 2 Leviamon, 2 Security Control, one of which was mine, 1 Red Hybrid, which did end up winning the entire kit and caboodle. We have Beelzemon X, Gabu Bond of all things, Blue Flare, Royal Knights, Belphamon, which I was surprised by that one, Yellow Vaccine, Numemon, and Armor Rush. So pretty cool that Armor Rush was able to make top 16. Nicholas is a pretty solid dude. I've played against him in the past. Very, very good player. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at my profile itself. So this is what I ended up submitting to the tournament. It's honestly fairly standard in terms of the build for security control. The only difference with this one is we opted for a one of the Wyvern's Breath to help with removal of big bodies on board that have like 13k DP or more, because Lunky Adestaco only gives minus 12. And the only other point of removal for like big bodies is the Chaos Degradation, which we do have a playset of that because you need it. But yeah, fairly standard. I will say Pillowmon came in very clutch against Numemon, Armor Rush, as well as like Leviamon. Basically any deck that wants to, forgive my crudeness here, but wants to poop out bodies on board very quickly, Pillowmon prevents that. The only downside is it also affects me, because Flame Health Scythe plays creatures from the trash to field upon activation, and Pillowmon does affect both players, not just your opponent. Then having the 2 Digimon Emperor really helped. If you have 2 of them out on board against a aggressive deck that runs rookies, it really kind of slows them down quite a bit. My previous build of this had 3 Death Exmon instead of 2. I ended up cutting 1 for another Azulongmon Ace, which I think that was the correct decision, because Azulongmon came up very clutch in a lot of matches. Just being able to bounce your opponent's level 5, it really helped against Armor Rush in my round 1 for Magnamon. He could have swung for, it was either game or close to game, like removing my last security, and he had DNA digivolved into a Chimeramon, attempted to swing with that level 5, and I had Magna Angemon on board, so I was just like, oh, well, no, I'm going to ace, as the popular adage goes. So anyway, I started blasting. Blast ace, that is. Yeah, other than that, just having the one of X program was kind of cheeky. Being able to activate that card with either Digimon Emperor on board or Death Exmon on board helps with board removal. It was between that or another like Wyvern's Breath or another Lunky. I was also toying with the idea of including a Ultimate Flare. That would have been a little cheeky, because being able to de-digivolve and then, clear level 3s is very strong, but it's single target. I need something that's more widespread. Then having the Avenged Kidmon with Lament of Friendship to combo. Very strong combo. It's almost like a, quote-unquote infinite combo, so that's kind of neat. And then the one of Gallantmon for just being able to play something out fairly cheaply against decks that, put cards in their trash. So, yeah, other than that, it's pretty standard. Nothing really too crazy. Shadow Seraphimon is arguably the MVP. He helps immensely with just making your opponents second guess. But yeah, that is the total deck profile. Well, that'll do it for this video, where we went over the feature match with my security control versus purple toolbox, as well as the deck profile. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the video and got a lot out of it. I know it is BT16 season right now, so hopefully everybody has good luck with their pulls, and we'll see if security control can function in this new format. We'll see. I know there's a lot of things out there that kind of deter it, so I will try my best to make it work, because this is my favorite deck archetype. I know. There's a lot of disdain for this archetype. I'm very well aware of that. I just enjoy it. It's fun for me. But yeah, we'll see what happens with this new format. So that being said, hopefully y'all stay safe out there, and above all else, I do hope that you stay rad.